The universe is vast. It is filled with more stars. More stars than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth. For most of human history, we have looked up at this cosmic ocean from the bottom of a deep gravity well. We were spectators, dreaming of the day we might set sail upon its dark, silent waters. On August 27, 2025, that dream took a giant leap forward. Starship stack on the launch pad at Starbase, backlit by the rising sun. From a remote corner of South Texas, a new kind of ship prepared to launch. This was Starship, forged from stainless steel and human ingenuity. Its 10th flight would be a turning point in our species' long journey to the stars. Success promised moon cities, Martian outposts, orbital habitats, a human presence beyond our home world. The world watched, holding its breath, standing on the shores of a new cosmic ocean as the air in Boca Chica crackled with anticipation. The path to the stars is never a straight line. It is fraught with challenges, setbacks, and the humbling lessons of failure. 2 previous attempts to launch had been scrubbed, each a public lesson in the complex dance of rocketry. The first, a stubborn valve that refused to cooperate, a tiny component halting a multi-billion-dollar machine. The second, anvil clouds and violent weather that violated safety protocols. Nature exerted its veto. These pauses were not empty time. They were filled with recalculations, troubleshooting, and relentless problem-solving. Teams worked around the clock, fueled by coffee and a shared vision. Finally, the day arrived. The weather was clear. The systems were all green. The long wait had sharpened the world's focus, turning a technical test into a global spectacle. The countdown began its final, inexorable march to zero. The final seconds of a countdown are a sacred time. 10. The sound suppression system unleashes a deluge of water. 9. The world holds a collective breath. 8. The engines begin their ignition sequence. A flicker of green fire appears at the base of the Super Heavy booster. 4. The 33 Raptor engines roar to life, a symphony of combustion. 0. The hold-down clamps release. Liftoff. For a moment the massive vehicle hangs, gathering strength, then with a ground-shaking roar it climbs. It pushed through Max Q, the moment of greatest aerodynamic stress, and Starship held firm. Onboard cameras show the curve of Earth deepening from blue to black. We are riding with it. Then, hot staging. The upper stage ignites while still attached. A ring of fire erupts as the stages separate in a violent, beautiful choreography. The upper stage, Ship 37, continued its journey toward orbit, now in its own phase of the mission. The baton had been passed, a new phase of work had begun. Its primary task complete, the Super Heavy booster, Booster 15, began its own journey back to Earth. Having propelled Starship to the edge of space, it fell back at hypersonic speeds. It executed a flip maneuver, reignited Raptors for a boost back burn, 10 seconds longer than previous tests, and aimed for a virtual landing zone in the Gulf of Mexico. Grid fins breathed and steered through thinning and thickening atmosphere, glowing red under re-entry heat, a trial by fire for the materials and actuators. One center engine was lost during the landing burn, remaining engines compensated, and the booster aimed for a controlled splashdown. The booster executed a vertical splashdown in the Gulf with remarkable accuracy. Mission Control exhaled, a stunning success and a trove of recovery data. The data will help refine attempts to catch boosters on the launch mount in future flights. Engineers celebrated the booster recovery while attention turned to Ship 37, its fate still unfolding. While the Super Heavy returned, Ship 37 charted its own course through the void. Engine cutoff was precise, placing the ship on a suborbital arc halfway around the globe. Its long, thin payload bay, nicknamed the PEZ Dispenser, opened to sequentially release satellite simulators. 8 Starlink satellite simulators, mimicking mass and size of future units, were released in a smooth, choreographed sequence captured by onboard cameras. This validation signals readiness to scale. Future flights could carry dozens or even 60 satellites, revolutionizing deployment cadence and cost. Ship 37 executed an in-space relight, a 2-second Raptor burn proving it can maneuver, change inclination, and perform deorbit burns, a prerequisite for rendezvous and refueling. The capability to mass deploy satellites at low cost opens new commercial opportunities in LEO, internet for remote regions, rapid constellation upgrades, and funding for deep space ambitions. Mission Control confirmed, deployment and relight were successful, another milestone in Starship's maturation. The journey's end is often its most perilous part. It hit the upper atmosphere at nearly 17,000 miles per hour. The air compressed and heated into a shell of plasma. Thousands of hexagonal black tiles formed the primary thermal protection. This re-entry was their ultimate test. Starship used 2 forward and 2 aft flaps to control orientation, falling like a skydiver rather than flying like an airplane. A blackout occurred as plasma enveloped the vehicle. When telemetry returned, a forward flap showed damage and a section of the drive skirt had exploded, likely from a chill line failure. The damage induced instability. A wobble turned into a roll that flight software and thrusters struggled to correct. Ultimately, the upper stage broke apart during final descent, culminating in a controlled splashdown and an anticipated post-landing explosion, destructive but rich in data. Though dramatic, the mission returned gigabytes of telemetry on heat shield performance, flap loads, and high-speed aerodynamics, data that will inform redesigns. Ship 37 flew farther and endured more than any prior Starship, a hard-won step forward. In the world of iterative design, there is no perfect failure, only lessons. Thousands of sensors recorded every second, a treasure trove for engineers. Engineers compared simulation to real data, identifying matches and mismatches to refine models. Design upgrades, strengthen structures, improve actuators and materials, refine flight software, targeted fixes informed by Flight 10. The payload bay's success validated a core business case: mass deployment of satellites at lower cost. This validation accelerates Starlink's build-out and the economic engine for future exploration. Flight 10 flew farther and faster than any prior test, pushing and expanding performance envelopes. The wreckage in the Indian Ocean is not a monument to failure, but a collection of clues that will be forged into the steel of Flight 11. Build, fly, break, learn, repeat. The cadence that drives progress on the frontier. Behind the towering steel and thunderous engines, there is always the human element. Engineers, technicians, and support staff poured nights and weekends into this machine, a shared belief that became the true engine of the Enterprise. Visionary leadership, exemplified in public faces and private drive, celebrated wins and immediately focused on problems. Partners like NASA hailed the progress, a public-private partnership that defines this new era. Commercial actors, satellite companies, tourism ventures, asteroid miners, watched closely. Starship is a potential game-changer. Flight 10 sent a signal to markets. The future may be arriving faster than expected. The fusion of human passion, leadership, and partnership is what drives these achievements. Vision, government partnership, and commercial ambition, a formula powering humanity into a new era. Their work does not end at splashdown. The next mission is already being designed. Starship Flight 10 was more than a single mission. It was a signpost toward a grander future. Its immediate impact will be felt in low Earth orbit. Validated payload bay and massive capacity mean faster constellation deployment. This could bring high-speed internet to remote corners, transform education, commerce, and communication. Next is the Moon. Starship is slated as NASA's human landing system for Artemis missions. Orbital refueling demonstrations remain critical, a non-negotiable capability for lunar and Martian missions. Mars has always been the ultimate target. Starship's stainless steel hull and Methalox design anticipate ISRU and long voyages. Flight 10 reshaped the roadmap, bringing cities on Mars from imagination to a plausible timeline. Humanity's role in space is about to change forever. Each flight, splashdown, and satellite writes a new verse in our epic. Flight 10 stands as a beacon of ambition and perseverance, a promise that when human ingenuity dares, the stars draw nearer.